Good morning. Greetings from Dhaka. I am very much grateful to organizers for having me here. My topic is capsulorhexis in different situations. I have no conflicts of interest. We know cataract surgery is rapidly evolving area in ophthalmology, and optimal outcomes of cataract surgery largely depend on the successful performance of capsulorhexis. So, an ideal capsulorhexis must be round, continuous, well-centered, and overlap the implanted IOL around its capsular circumference. An appropriate size of rhexis varies between 5 and 6 millimeter. Ideal size is 5.5. In eyes with weak zonules, capsulorhexis can be kept 0.5 to 1 millimeter larger than the optic to prevent capsule capture. So at first, capsule must be stained with any type of, in case of any type of cataract, central continuous curvilinear capsulorhexis or opening in the anterior capsule can be fashioned by creating a small tear in the anterior capsule, and it is advancing the resulting capsular flap into a circular shape by guiding the leading edge with the cystitome, or it can be done by a capsulorhexis forceps by grasping the leading edge with, and it is advancing the tear with frequent grasping and re-grasping, and in between we have to use several times OVD. Now I will discuss various techniques of capsulorhexis along with variations in special circumstances. For example, small pupil with cataract, white cataract, hard cataract, and in pediatric cataract. We know small pupil makes virtually every steps of cataract surgery more problematic. Actually, small pupil limits the size of the capsulorhexis. So we could do rhexis with the help of excessive use of high molecular weight OVD, where we advancing the capsular flap underneath the pupillary border to get the desired size, and several times we have to use OVD here. Or we could do capsulorhexis in small pupil cases by using flexible iris hooks to get the desired size of the capsulorhexis. Or we could use pupil dilating devices to complete the rhexis here. Here I show B-hex ring I use here. Now come to white cataract. We know intralenticular pressure is high in case of white cataract, so recommended surgical technique to minimize the risk of radial extension of the anterior capsule. At first we have to flatten the capsule by using highly cohesive OVD. Then at first we could do initial small rhexis. Here I use cystitome, or we could use capsulorhexis forceps, then decompression of the bag, and secondarily I do large rhexis. In case of radial tear or Argentinian flag sign, when happens, it has to be taken care, so we could continue phaco by doing half circle rhexis, at first distal one, then proximal one, and remaining portion of the phaco should be done very gently, cautiously, and we could place the IOL here. perpendicular to the tear. In case of hard cataract, here after staining capsule, we could do capsulorhexis a little bit larger than usual one to minimize the stress over zonule during phacoemulsification. And here we have to use OVD more frequently. And rest of the phacoemulsification we could do whatever we prefer. In the event of occurrence of peripheral extension, if occurs, capsulorhexis forceps can be used here to change the direction of the tear when it happens. It can be, capsulorhexis forceps can be used to hold the torn flap as near to the base as possible and pulling it toward the center of the pupil and connecting it to the initial flap. Pediatric anterior capsule is more thinner, stronger, and more elastic than adults. So capsulorhexis, we could do capsulorhexis. There is a risk of peripheral extension is more, so needs more precise surgical maneuver. Here we could use high molecular weight OVD to flatten the anterior capsule and construction of slightly smaller than desired rhexis, because with the stretch in the anterior capsule, the opening would be larger at the completion. Femtosecond laser-assisted cataract surgery paved the way to a new era, especially in white and hard cataract, to achieve desired capsulorhexis. This technology gives a drive for more consistent outcome than that are achievable by an experienced surgeon. Here, less variation in centration and size, uniformly circular and precise diameter, and reduce the risk of radial tears here. Optimum capsule overlap. Therefore, improved refractive and visual outcome due to more predictable effective lens position. Higher cost of the procedure remains the major limiting factor. Thank you all for your patient hearing.
Well, thank you, Dr. Firdaus. I think you have covered each and every aspect of capsulorhexis. And just to sum up what she has said, I mean, capsulorhexis is the basis of any phacoemulsification procedure, because the capsulorhexis is not only an art, but it's also the efficiency and the proficiency that decides how good a surgeon is and how good a surgery is going to be in a finally post-op period. So I think she has covered every aspect, but the two most important I would rate it as, one is the hypermature cataract, where people might have difficulty, and second is the pediatric cataract, where actually you intend to do a 3 millimeter rhexis and finally it goes into the 6 millimeter rhexis. But I think Dr. Firdaus has covered each and every aspect of the capsulorhexis, and thank you so much, ma'am.
I think in my opinion, whatever the cataract is there, use the high viscoelastic. That will solve the purpose. If the extension is going on, just retrieve, pulling towards your own side. So that will somehow will save you the extension. And Dr. Firdaus, you have done wonderfully well. You have really good presentation.
Very nice videos indeed. And one more thing I want to add for the beginners or for PGs, that capsulorhexis preferably should be done from the side port, so that your antechamber is maintained, and as sir said, high molecular visco is always preferable.
We
in dire
usually-
situations?
Usually I practiced within the side port only in case of hypermature white cataract.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
Side port
all are
has
through
also
the-
one advantage that
Yeah.
your capsular axis is very thin, microfine capsular axis you use. But from the main port, if you use a utrata forceps, that leads to the escape of the viscoelastin and chamber collapses. And that may create a lot of problems. So side port, as he suggested, side port is a very wonderful place to perform the capsular axis. I think one should try it, especially PGs.
Thank
So one more thing for SICS, you need little larger capsular axis so that you can deliver the nucleus
Yes,
with ease. So that is two things I want to add. Thank you so much for your nice presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you.